continue to reclaim.
We're in Ludlow for the penultimate round of the Welsh Rally Championship. 3 names really that we need to be watching: Paul Davey, Dylan Davies and Bob Keane. Which order will we be seeing their names on the trophy at the end of the Cambrian? Well, this round is going to count so much. Watch those results today. All the action right now. You're watching Special Stage from the Woodpecker Rally. Jamie Anderson leads the crews away from Ludlow with Luke Francis close behind, neither in a position for the championship win. But third on the road, Bob Keane certainly was. He needs a good result this weekend to secure that title. On to the first couple of stages, and it will be Luke Francis and John Roberts taking the lead. A new car in this event was hopefully going to give them a bit more of an edge against the competition. Luke, you're flying in this new car.
Yeah, well, the first stage went really well for us. Had a few mishaps on the second with overshoots and just general bad driving, really.
So let that confidence get the better of you?
No, so we're just going to come to service now, have a drink and then go again.
For Jamie Anderson and John Scott, it will be second. A puncture in the second stage of the morning wasn't helping the times, but they didn't lose too much, just 16 seconds behind Francis at this point. A puncture somewhat puts things out of your control.
Yeah, it does, and as I said to you this morning, it's a cruel sport, and I don't know, we're just speechless with it. Every time we think we're going to get somewhere, we just either cut a bit too much or there's something that creates a problem, but it's not over yet, so we're not giving up yet.
Ian Joel and Graham Wood didn't get very far at all on this event last year, so they were happy to see the first service halt, and they had the pace as well with third place at this stage. Sadly, we lose Paul Davey and Dude Pearce early on when they break a ball joint on stage 2 and are unable to continue. So with one of the contenders out of the picture today, it will be Roland Llewellyn and Jamie Edwards that have a good lead in the N4 class now. They didn't feel it was going too well, but clearly something was going right. Dylan Davies and Leon Williams also thought that they were not driving at their best, making a few silly mistakes in the stages because they were pushing too hard and unsure if they could keep up the pace for the rest of the day without going off. A spin on the second stage of the morning would lose Bob Keane and Andy Bull a little time. Lying in 6th place for now, 3rd in the class, they would be looking at the championship, and there were still plenty more miles to go. Peter Stevenson and John Connor were having a little problem with the car not starting, which was fine as long as they didn't stall it. For now, it was going okay in 7th. Harry Gardner and Elliot Graham had a good feeling in the car this weekend. Things coming together for the pair this time. All they wanted now was to up the pace a little and try to advance on that 8th position. Bob Morgan and A.D. Williams have a little bit of a slower start than they would have wanted, losing a little time on the second stage of the morning to end this loop in 9th overall. And for John Ballinger and Mike Wilding, it will be 10th. They round out the top of the results and lead the way in Class 6. Just one slight knock of a chicane to report by the end of the loop. Sadly, we lose Dave and Freddie Brick in stage 2. They go off the road in the Nova. A few of the classes outside the top 10 then, and second in Class 6 just behind Ballinger were Gary Smith and Andy Wynn. Not happy with the first stage, but going well after that. A puncture in stage 2 would lose Harvey Price and George Gifford a little time overall, but it didn't affect the class. They come out of this loop leading the way in Class 7. Thomas Lloyd and Anthony Litchfield start the day well, leading the way in Class 4 and with a good feeling in the car. Their eyes just on a finish after not finishing the previous 3 events. Just behind them in the class were James Hutchings and James Hood, themselves not having the best of luck at times this season. This weekend though was okay, apart from the starter motor not working. There's a theme here. It would be a good start for Jordan and Paul Hone. They have a good run in these first 2 stages to end the morning with the lead in Class 3. That lead would be over Heffin Lloyd Davies and Emir Hall. Second in the class now, but sadly the pair wouldn't make it out of service for the next loop after going off on stage 2 and causing too much damage to the car. Tony Williams and Karen Phelps didn't enjoy the opening stage. The slippery tarmac hairpins not doing the stage times any good. They end the morning with 3rd in Class 6. David Lloyd Roberts and Di Jones make a good start, leading the way in Class 5, just looking to get a finish now, although a spin in the first stage was a little scare for the pair. Consistency and points would be the aim, as always, for Kieran Darrington and Pamela Mitchell. They have a good run to start the event with third in Class 3 now. No problems for John Baker and Chris Whittle. They have a good, clean run to start the morning with second in Class 5. Kit and Tim Lee, meanwhile, look to keep the reliability that they'd finally got out of that Fiesta. They end the morning with second in Class 4 and no problems out on the stages for once. Just the one crew in Class 1 this weekend, so it would be an easy class result for Thomas Bayliss and Joe Jones, provided they can make it to the finish, of course. Sadly for David Dobson and Steve Pugh, though, there would be problems. A broken brake caliper in the morning stages saw them drop right down the results, just clinging on to third in Class 5 though. And sadly we'd lose Tim Keynes and Richard May, the engine in the Peugeot giving up in stage 2. So with the morning stages complete here at the Woodpecker, the top of the results look like this. On to the next couple of stages, and it would still be the lead for Luke Francis and John Roberts. But the gap was only a small one now, just 2 seconds of a lead in fact for the pair.
Well, Luke, that new car might just have done the job. You were right in this fight.
Yeah, well, I messed up on the third stage. We overshot a junction, it stalled and I had to reverse back, so I lost quite a lot of time. But at the fourth stage, we had a nice clean run and put an awesome time in. So.
Battle of the Evos at the top there.
Yeah, well, I think Jamie's lost quite a bit of time, so I think we're leading by 3 now.
Jamie Anderson and John Scott still hold on to second place, gaining back some lost time with that earlier puncture. They get within 2 seconds of the rally lead now with 2 stages to go.
Jamie, you're right there in the fight. This could be a good day for you if you could just keep out of trouble.
Yeah, I think if we battle it to the end, we could be about there. You know, we had a bit of a problem this morning with a puncher and everything else, but we never say it's over till it's over.
And there'd be no change for Ian Joel and Graham Wood, remaining third at this stage, although they did get a puncture themselves in this loop of stages. A much better run for Bob Keane and Andy Bull in this loop of stages. They move up to fourth. The result looking like a good one, and a championship result at that, if they can keep it there.
Bob, by all accounts, all you've got to do today, and it's a big ask, is finish without a touch on the car, and you'll take the Welsh Championship.
Well, that would be great. There's still 2 more stages to go, and yes, Large Ladies Singing comes to mind.
Fortunately, she's already there for Paul Davey if you continue the way you are.
Oh, yeah, I heard that he'd not made it through the second stage, but yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, it's difficult when the only thing you can do is get it wrong.
And Dylan Davies and Leon Williams were also finding things better in this loop. They have a good run to take up 5th, but still not feeling on the pace of the guys up ahead. Roland Llewellyn and Jamie Edwards were still struggling with the pace and the traction, but the timesheets didn't lie. The pair lead the way in the N4 class from 6th overall on the leaderboard. Harry Gardner and Elliot Graham end this loop with 7th, and with much stronger arms too, after losing the power steering and now having to wrestle the car around all of the tight corners here. There wouldn't be much change for Bob Morgan and A.D. Williams. They remain at the same pace, ending this loop with 8th position. Craig Golder and John Kane in the Subaru were aiming for a finish, but the pace was good too. They end this loop inside the top 10 with 9th overall. And rounding out our top 10 were Peter Stevenson and John Connor. Suffering with a bad arm meant that the handbrake wasn't able to be used on the tighter hairpins. Unfortunately, we lose John Ballinger and Mike Wilding. They crash out into a tree on stage 4. And we'd also lose David Lloyd Roberts and Di Jones when they crash out on stage 3 on this tricky right-hander, which had tried to claim a few before them. So with just 2 stages remaining here at the Woodpecker, the results at the top look like this. On to the final results then, and would they be decisive? It would be the Class 1 win for Thomas Bayliss and Joe Jones. They just had to keep it going, and they did just that. David Dobson and Steve Pugh were unable to recover any real time from this morning's brake problems, but they do take 2nd in Class 5 with the loss of David Lloyd Roberts in the previous loop, of course. Thomas Lloyd and Anthony Litchfield break their run of non-finishes to take 3rd in Class 4 at the end of the rally, resulting in the championship victory in that class for Thomas. James Watkins and Karen Tomlinson get themselves into the top of the Class 3 results in these stages, ending the event with third in that class. And for Morgan Hanford and Richard Davies, it will be second in the class. The result was, however, good enough to secure the class title for the 2015 season. And it's success too for John Baker and Chris Whittle. They take the Class 5 trophy this weekend, and indeed for the season. A good end to the event for the pair. Unfortunately, we lose Jordan and Paul Hone from the Class 3 battle in dramatic fashion when they crash out on Stage 6. So that does mean that it's the Class 3 victory for Kieran Darrington and Pamela Mitchell in 16th place overall. A good steady run for Chris Nixon and Ian Jones sees them finish the day with third in Class 6. Kit and Tim Lee, meanwhile, finally start to see more reliability from the car. As we said earlier, they finish with second in Class 4, a welcomed result for the pair. And Tony Williams and Karen Phelps picked the pace up a little in the afternoon stages to finish just outside our top 10 overall, second in Class 6. James Hutchings and James Hood record a finish here at the Woodpecker stages, something they don't get very often. And Harvey Price and George Gifford also managed to finish their first event of the season with the Class 7 victory. On to the top 10, and it will be Gary Smith and Andy Wynne rounding out the top of the results, taking the Class 6 victory. Craig Golder and John Kane have a steady run to take 9th, also though 5th in the popular Class 8. No further problems for Peter Stevenson and John Connor in the MG mean they finish 8th overall. Harry Gardner and Elliot Graham continue to wrestle the Subaru around the stages to reach the end with 7th place overall, 4th in Class 8. And it's a good day overall for Bob Morgan and A.D. Williams. They take 3rd in Class 8 as well as finishing 6th overall. No problems with the N4 class victory for Roland Llewellyn and Jamie Edwards. They wouldn't feel it was their best performance, but with 5th on the leaderboard and the class victory, it will be hard to agree with that. Consistency once again guides Dylan Davies and Leon Williams to a great result of 4th overall, 2nd in Class 8. Sadly, we lose Ian Joel and Graham Wood when they go off on the final stage of the rally. Onto the podium places here at the Woodpecker then, and a great finish for Bob Keane and Andy Bull sees them take 3rd overall, but most importantly with it, the driver's title for 2015. The co-driver's title for Andy still to be decided on the final round in a few weeks' time. For Luke Francis and John Roberts, it would unfortunately be a drop down to 2nd place. Still a great result, and although it doesn't mean big things in the championship overall, it does boost their chances of Class 8 victory this season. But that does mean that it's a win for Jamie Anderson and John Scott. They claw back the time from their problems in the first loop and jump into that lead, taking victory by just 5 seconds at the end of the rally. So before we chat to the winners, here's a look at the final results.
Yeah, it's been a day which has gone up and down really. We started off the morning of all intentions that we wanted to win it, obviously being John's own rally. You know, one of those things, it's always something close you want to achieve. Coming out of a stage 2 and out of puncher and dropping what we thought was 40 seconds, we thought it was time to go on the trailer and day's over. But we've come to the end of the day and we've actually managed to pull the time back and gain back into first position.
So it wasn't just plain sailing from the start, which actually makes it a better victory in a way, doesn't it? You've really worked for it.
It does. We've made hard work of it, I think, really. We were steady in Bridgewood because you can so easily lose the rally in there. Nobody's going to win it in there. After a puncher, I thought it was really game over. Gutted the Woodpecker had beaten me again, but to win it, I'm just absolutely over the moon.
Guys, you brought a new car to play today to take the fight, to try and take victory here at the Woodpecker. It didn't quite come off, but it's been there or thereabouts, hasn't it? You were so close.
Yeah, I've had an absolutely fantastic day. You know, we've had a brilliant battle with Steve and Jamie, so you know, I'm over the moon with our result, and couldn't really have gone much quicker in A Park, so I've fed them off, so yeah, I made it.
As always, John, you're fighting here with World Rally cars and current crop top spec cars. I know you've brought a new car, but it's still fighting above its weight, isn't it?
Oh, it is fighting above its weight. The transmission's nothing like it's standard. You know, it's okay. It's dog box and stuff like that, but it's not the same. And but we'll be there. Don't worry.
Well, after a tightly fought season, you guys are provisional Welsh Rally champions. How does that feel?
Oh, it's great. It's really good. It's been a hard day because we've just been trying to make sure we didn't make any mistakes on the day, and we've got to the end without any major time loss, and looks like it's been okay.
Wales is one of the best places in the world to go rallying. No one would disagree. Some of the people that have had their names on this trophy, I know you're yet to secure the co-drivers. You've got a few points left to go, but it's looking good. It's great to have at least one of your names so far on the trophy for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Wales is the home of British rallying. Absolutely amazing stages. You know, we've done around the world, and you know, they're just cracking. They've got the fast bits, the twisty bits. You know, not too many junctions. Everything flows. It's just great. It's just really great. And of course, you know, scenery is great, and you know, we love getting around it. It's you know, out of all the events in the UK that everyone really loves, you know, most of them are in Wales. So, you know, it's great to do the championship that's just packed full of them.
Well, good luck for the next round at the Cambrian. Obviously, you need a few more points to secure the co-drivers, which would be great to have both of you receiving that award. But for now, well done, Bob, provisional champion in Wales.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, very happy to be here.
Well, with one round left to go here in the Welsh Rally Championship, Bob Keane in that Subaru does secure the championship for 2015. Andy Bull, his co-driver, does need a few more points, which hopefully he will secure on the Cambrian at the last round. But that does mean that the championship is by no means over, because the Cambrian being the last round is always a great finale, and everyone wants to be winning on that seafront in Llandudno for the final of the Welsh Championship. A great week for Welsh sport all round, but it isn't just football, rugby and other Welsh sports. It's rallying. Remember that.
Followers of Special Stage will be familiar with our coverage of the Junior 1000 Rally Championship, and we recently went along to Tros Fyned to talk to a few of the current and future contenders in the championship to offer our advice on talking to the cameras. As well as our own Special Stage training, the drivers were able to get some seat time on the stage and learn how to make pace notes with previous Junior Championship competitor Marion Evans and of course co-driver Jonathan Jackson.
Oh, I'm Zach Hughes. I drive this Citroen C1 in the Junior 1000 Championship. My dad's always been involved in rallying. He started off road rallying and then stage rallying, and he's been up at Anglesey a lot. He used to do a lot of rallies up there, and in the early days of the championship I watched the juniors up at Anglesey, and ever since then I've wanted to have a go, and finally I did. I'm planning on going on the BTRDA 1400s, and yeah, hopefully I can get some good sponsors and go as far as I possibly can.
My name is Louis Hooper. I'm 11-year-old, and I got interested in rallying because my dad was in an Opel Manta 400 when I was a baby. I'm hoping I will do well in the championship and like be up there in top 10. I have took loads of Nissan Micras in bits just to see what to do and stuff.
So I'm Tommy Meadows. I'm 15 years old and I'm currently driving a Nissan Micra in the Junior 1000 Rally Championship. The year didn't start off too well. We were going to get a podium at Three Sisters, and then I threw it off and spun, ended up 6th, and at Anglesey we hit a tyre chicane, broke a drive shaft, and then since then it started to pick up a bit and we're currently lying 3rd in the championship. Today's been really good. We've learned how to make pace notes, which is going to be quite a valuable lesson for us in the future if we go into BRC, things like that. And it's also good to have a bit of a social with everyone and get some seat time.
The next round of the Junior Championship we'll be attending will be Anglesey at the end of October. If you haven't already seen these guys in action, get yourself across there for a look. Last weekend saw one of the longest events in the UK take place, Rally Isle of Man, and crews from all over the world headed to the island to take part in a 3-day rally. A scoring round of the Manx Rally Championship and the British Historic Championship, amongst others. Contenders in both modern and historic machinery would battle against each other on those iconic lanes and against the elements to take the honours on this endurance event. Things started off with a spectator special around Douglas Promenade before heading out to the lanes for a few stages in the dark on Thursday evening. But the real action would get underway on the Friday morning with the first full day of rallying. The event would quickly claim a number of crews, either due to mechanical or driver error, and the results would change almost as quickly and often as the weather, which thankfully after rain on Thursday was now looking good. After stages on Friday morning, it would be the Castletown stage that entertained the crowds on the Friday evening, giving the crews a chance to show off in front of the spectators and their own teams around that famous harbour before the overnight halt, ready for the final day of competition on Saturday. The final stage of the event on day 3 would be an 18-mile blast along some of the island's most famous roads, including, of course, parts of the TT circuit, which would play into the hands of multiple TT winner Michael Dunlop. But he only knew the last 2 miles. The previous 170 would be all new to him, but thankfully he did finish, and with a credible 8th overall. Celebrations will be had in the British Historic Championship this weekend, with Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark wrapping up the 2015 Championship title here this weekend. It hadn't been plain sailing. Problems had certainly been there to test them, but they end the rally as 2015 champions with 1 round to spare the following weekend, of course, on the Track Rod Rally. And in the modern entry, it will be celebrations as well for Steve Colley and Andrew Cowley, taking victory on both legs of the event, meaning 2 maximum scores for their Manx Championship campaign. And with Nigel Cannell finishing just behind them, it meant the battle for that championship will continue onto the PokerStars Rally in November. You can catch our coverage of Rally Isle of Man in full this Friday on Motors TV and soon afterwards on our social media channels as well. This weekend saw the BTRDA battle head to the penultimate round, the Track Rod Rally Yorkshire. And with our 2015 champions confirmed in the Gold Star, it would be all about those classes and other categories this weekend. With Jamie Anderson pulling out at the last minute, it will be up to Stephen Petch to lead the crews away. But despite an early lead, he would drop down to second after a less than ideal run through a couple of the stages. This opened the door for Charlie Payne to take a good advantage in the morning stages and lead the way in that Focus Engine Fiesta, a lead he would keep and extend right to the finish to take his first victory in that new car. Chasing the title in the Mixed Surface Challenge this weekend were Damien Cole and Jack Morton. Having missed out on the Ashfeld Championship victory for a 6th season in a row, this soon became the #1 priority. A slow start would improve as the day went on, seeing the pair take 2nd overall on the car's first gravel outing, securing the pair the 2015 Mixed Surface title. Callum Black would be here to try and get his name on that Silver Star trophy, and despite joining the fight late in the season, he wasn't giving up hope of taking that at the end of the year. A victory here in Yorkshire was certainly going to help that. He did take victory over Boyd Kershaw, who would be fresh from a good result on the previous round and full of confidence, but 2nd was as good as it got this weekend. It would be a Yorkshire-dominated 1400 and Rally first entry, and the victory this weekend would go the way of 2 of those crews, with Ash Sykes taking the overall 1400 win and Nick Carr taking the Rally first victory. And as a result, he and Joe Sturdy take the Rally First Championship title for the 2nd year in a row in that Lupo. You can catch our coverage of the Track Rod Rally Yorkshire in our BTRDA and 1400 roundup on the 9th of October. And of course, online on our social media channels soon afterwards.
Five right flat in and 6 right continued over clear.